A major update on CM Punk's AEW return plans and an update on if the roster split is going to be as hard or soft as first previously reported. Could CM Punk be appearing on both AEW Collision on Saturdays as well as episodes of AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays? Plenty of details surrounding the return of the former two-time AEW World Champion. We have the ratings for this past Wednesday's edition of AEW Dynamite on TBS. Who knew in WWE that Roderick Strong had left the company? Details on that, plus several AEW people are upset and sad to see that Leva Bates has left the company. Conan believes that Tony Khan should delegate creative duties to other people within All Elite Wrestling. Dr. Britt Baker has opened up on the controversy surrounding her latest t-shirt design, and Cash Wheeler praises Will Ospreay. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. And when we're talking about AEW at the moment, of course, we've got to continue to talk about none other than CM Punk. Yes, we're talking about him in the AEW universe at the moment, as opposed to visiting Monday Night Raw, WWE's Monday Night Raw, or Impact Wrestling's tapings in Chicago. Now, with the WWE draft now completed, attention can now turn to AEW's own roster split. WWE have had their own brand extension, their own roster splits, and AEW looks to be implementing their own. Or are they, when it comes to CM Punk's impending return to All Elite Wrestling television? With CM Punk set to return for the debut of AEW Collision, Dave Meltzer has written about the roster splits and Punk's plans in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. According to The Observer, plans may still be fluid and not confirmed as of right now, with Meltzer writing, quote, "The updated plan, and this will possibly change a few times, is that there will be less of a hard roster split as previously told to people who do know about it. The thought is that the split will not be hard at all. With the women, they don't believe there is enough star power to do a hard split. The roster split was reported last month as a way to keep people who have issues with each other on separate rosters so they can stay away from each other, which isn't just Punk." It's been reported that Collision will likely debut on Saturday, June 17 in Punk's hometown of Chicago and will be a weekly show on TNT from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Meltzer would go on to cover the plans for CM Punk, talent relations, and the upcoming AEW Collision show, writing, quote, "Punk will be the star of Collision most weeks, but he will be on Dynamite at times when needed. Those with unresolved issues with Punk would be on Collision the week he's on Dynamite." So essentially, if CM Punk's advertised for Dynamite, the Elite won't be on that show, they're going to be on Collision that week, and we're going to have this kind of soft roster split whereby Punk's on one show, the Elite's on the other one, but it's not limited to Dynamite or Collision. He continues by saying, quote, "The idea is to get people to resolve issues, but that hasn't happened yet, nor has there been any notable progress." It was also noted that all of this is still up in the air and being figured out in real time, and nothing is final, but this could be how things end up happening. Now, Meltzer had previously reported that Collision would be headed up by Punk, another major return / debut that we don't know yet, FTR and possibly Chris Jericho, while Dynamite would have the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. But he's kind of backtracking on that a little bit now and suggesting that actually things could still be quite fluid, and the hope is that everyone resolves their issues, but as of right now, those issues are far from being resolved. Meltzer would conclude by covering the position of AEW Rampage in the hierarchy of programming, stating, quote, "Rampage will turn into what Dark and Dark Elevation were, more to showcase younger talent. The idea right now is for Dynamite and Rampage to tape together on Wednesday nights and Collision and Ring of Honor to tape together on Saturday nights. It was recently reported that AEW Dark and Dark Elevation have both come to an end, for the time being at least. The reason for that, according to Andrew Zarian of the Wrestling Observer and Matt Men podcast, is due to the negotiations for Collision, including an agreement that all AEW wrestling content would air exclusively on Warner Bros. Discovery stations." So that's kind of the latest update when it does come to CM Punk and his return. It's not a hard roster split, but the rosters are going to be somewhat split and kind of swapped around depending on the show and depending on the storyline. Now, with CM Punk widely anticipated to be making a return, Saraya has has discussed the controversial star while talking about AEW All In. Tony Khan, as I mentioned, is planning this soft roster split that's kind of being figured out in real time to accommodate, among other things, the return of CM Punk and a new television vehicle for the star. With AEW All In taking place in August, attention has also been on whether we could see CM Punk at Wembley Stadium in London. One of the stars who is likely to be on the London show is Saraya, who recently spoke about Punk with BBC Norfolk, saying, quote, "I said this before with Punk, he's always been an absolute sweetheart to me. He's been very helpful, given a lot of advice over the years since basically near the beginning of when I was in WWE. And then coming into AEW, he reached out to me, and it's just like, if you need anything, you know. He's just really awesome." Saraya would also address the animosity backstage that stemmed from the post-AEW All Out press conference fight in September of last year, stating, quote, "I feel like, if people don't like each other, like you have to find that common ground in a professional setting. I never let my personal feelings get in the way of business at the end of the day." So Saraya, she said that she's a fan of Punk, and I guess she's hoping to see CM Punk come back. Let's switch gears here and talk about AEW Dynamite, because the ratings haven't been great for AEW's flagship show in recent weeks, and this week was no different. Wednesday's episode of AEW Dynamite featured a well-promoted main event featuring consistent ratings draw as AEW World Champion MJF teamed with Sammy Guevara against Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Darby Allin, but it did not appear to have a great effect on the show's viewership as a whole. According to reports from Showbuzz Daily and WrestleNomics, the May 3rd Dynamite averaged 776,000 viewers across its 2 hours, which is down 10% from last week, approximately 365,000 of which were in the key demo most valued by advertisers aged 18 to 49, which is essentially flat with the week prior. The latter figure translates to a 0.28 rating in the 18 to 49 demo, which earned Dynamite 8th place among Showbuzz Daily's rankings of Wednesday's cable originals. Among shows that weren't NBA or NHL playoff coverage, it came in 3rd behind Bravo's Vanderpump Rules and Watch What Happened Live with Andy Cohen. For a bigger picture, a look at Wednesday's ratings, the WrestleNomics Patreon page compares this week's Dynamite viewership across various demographics to the median of the prior 4 weeks. By that metric, the total viewership, which was the lowest since June 15, was down the same percentage from last week, 10%, while the key demo saw no change from the median. The most positive signs came in male viewers aged 12 to 34, which was up 9%, men aged 18 to 49, up 5%, but the rest of the news was not so good. The biggest percentage drop came in female viewers aged 12 to 34, which was down 35% from its recent surge, followed by adults aged 50 plus and all viewers outside of the 18 to 49 age range, which both saw a 17% decrease. Women aged 18 to 49 also took a big hit, dropping 13% from the median. So why do you think that is? Why do you think the ratings have been declining for Dynamite? Do you think it really matters when it comes to upcoming success of events like AEW All In at London's Wembley Stadium? And do you think someone like CM Punk can make the difference? And is that why possibly we're seeing a situation whereby Punk could actually maybe possibly be appearing on some episodes of Dynamite moving forward? Now, Roderick Strong obviously is a big signing for AEW recently. Roderick Strong made his AEW debut on the April 26th episode of AEW Dynamite with Tony Khan, confirmed that the former NXT Diamond Mine member was now All Elite. It had been previously reported that multiple release requests to WWE had been turned down for the former Ring of Honor World Champion. Dave Meltzer has now provided an update in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that casts further light on the situation that Strong was in, writing, quote, "Strong's WWE contract actually expired in November, according to 2 sources in WWE. What's crazy is that most working for the promotion had no idea he was still listed on the website. He had tried to give notice well before that and was turned down. According to Meltzer, he was told that the angle where they injured him was an injury cover, as was everyone, but that was to actually be his farewell, as they knew well in advance he wasn't going to sign a new deal. He was still listed on the WWE website even after he made his surprise AEW debut. He had been hurting, which is why he just returned last week, although he was planned for some time to be arriving shortly after the return of Adam Cole, who he'd be linked with. Kyle O'Reilly will also be part of the group upon his return. No word on when that return would be, but he had neck fusion surgery and did have some complications post-surgery that he was speaking about on social media. Almost nobody, according to Meltzer in WWE, knew Strong's contract was up, even though it was long ago, and was shocked when he was on the show. He was also kept hidden backstage so word wouldn't get out ahead of time. So quite interestingly, his contract expired last year in November and just nobody knew, or nobody cared to know, or no one really spoke about it, particularly those in WWE, despite the fact that those that would know did know, and somehow, some way, it didn't leak out until he appeared on the episode of Dynamite, which is nowadays pretty rare stuff. Now, one story in AEW this week was Leva Bates leaving the company. It was recently revealed that on May 1st, 2023, Leva Bates and AEW had parted ways. Bates made her AEW debut at the 2019 Fyter Fest and was a much-loved member of the company's roster, as noted by Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. In the current issue of the newsletter, Meltzer writes, quote, Leva Bates' contract expired and wasn't renewed. She had not been wrestling much, but had worked in a lot of capacities, including community relations, the AEW Heels group, did a lot of things backstage, and worked in media and communications as a liaison. She had been one of the first female signings of the promotion, doing the love interest librarian deal with Peter Avalon. There were a number of people sad with this news, as she was very well liked. Behind the scenes, Bates assisted the former Chief Brand Officer Brandy Rhodes among many roles that she fulfilled. As to what her next plans are, we still don't really know. She might return to the independent wrestling scene and maybe once again wrestling, or maybe she'll go into something else completely entirely. If we get any details on that or more reaction from it, of course, we'll let you know here on the channel. Now, this is quite an interesting one that I want to get you guys' opinion on, and I'm sure you'll let me know in the comment section below. As always, the WN365 community is always growing and always filled with opinions. Now, there's no denying that AEW President Tony Khan has his hands full, both in and out of AEW. And during a recent episode of the K100 podcast, Conan weighed in on the topic and pitched that Khan should relinquish some creative control to people like Jeff Jarrett. Quote, there's a lot of names out there, and have Jeff Jarrett run one show and have another person run another show, Conan said. And then Khan edits it. Whoever is doing good numbers, you keep them there, and if not, put someone else in. It's mind-boggling to me that Tony has the time, energy, and even the creative makeup to make four shows pop, because that's kind of what he has right now, plus pay-per-views, plus handling talent, plus working in football and soccer. Conan suggested that Khan needs help from people he can trust. He also threw out Sonjay Dutt's name as someone who could help run Ring of Honor, while Khan focuses on writing or editing Dynamite. This discussion happened prior to Khan announcing that former Fightful podcast host Will Washington joined the company as the new administration coordinator. In the role, Washington will work directly with Khan and assist several departments, including live events, creative, social media, and public relations. Fightful Select also noted that he will help Khan with continuity and long-term storytelling. In addition to the new hire, it appears Khan is shifting his priorities when it comes to the lineup of the programming, as I mentioned earlier on, with AEW Collision set to debut soon and Dark and Dark Elevation effectively being cancelled for now. But do you agree with what Conan is saying? Does Tony Khan at this point, with all of the plates he is spinning, does he need to delegate? And is the product, particularly in AEW, starting to reflect that? This has been a story, hasn't it, that's generated a lot of controversy on social media over the last week or so. Britt Baker said when she posted a photo on social media recently of a black eye she received on Dynamite, the post overwhelmingly received admiration from her fans. But when the AEW star shared the same image being used on a t-shirt, she was shocked to see one fan accuse her and the promotion of endorsing domestic violence. Quote, I was very surprised, Baker told Sports Illustrated, responding to the social media controversy. When it went on a shirt, it was really problematic, and that was so confusing to me, she said, because why? If I'm on a shirt with a black eye, why does that make me weak? Why does that make me a victim? But if a man or Chris Jericho had a black eye, they'd be tough, they'd be a badass. Baker received the black eye in question during a spot on AEW Dynamite recently when the Outcast Saraya, Tony Storm and Ruby Soho attacked her in the middle of the ring while her boyfriend Adam Cole was handcuffed to the ropes by Jericho. Nothing seemed distasteful about the spot or the photo of the black eye until one fan complained online after it was put on a t-shirt, according to Baker. Quote, to me, it's showing the internal narrative that people are saying about women, and that's we're not as strong or as tough as men. And that's the real problem here, Baker told SI. It's not the black eye on a t-shirt. Sometimes I do get hurt. I've broken my leg, my wrist, my nose, and guess what? Now I have a black eye, and I signed up for that. I've actually been telling the makeup artist, don't cover up my black eye, because I think it's empowering, because I'm tough. You should see the other girl. So Do you agree with what Britt Baker is saying there? Is it a case of social media being outraged once again by just nothing? Or was there legitimacy to the complaint that was on social media? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Finally, one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Cash Wheeler, has praised none other than Will Ospreay. Ever since bursting onto the scene in WWE, AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR have also always been about less is more, and their no flips just fist catchphrase hadn't even pretty much signified that, certainly, didn't it? And it's still something the duo holds on to today, although they aren't nearly as down on high flying as they lead people to believe. In an interview of What Culture Wrestling from WrestleCon, Cash Wheeler discussed FTR's preference for more emotional, storytelling-based wrestling as opposed to high flying, comparing the latter to CGI-driven superhero films and their own style to something more grounded like The Dark Knight. Wheeler also discussed how one New Japan Pro Wrestling star had figured it out. Quote, "The athleticism the generation has now is better than it has ever been. But then you have guys that never evolve past that," Wheeler said. And then you have guys like Will Ospreay, who learned that he doesn't have to do everything all the time, even though he's one of the most gifted athletes in the world. When he started realizing how to tell all the stories he wanted to and getting those moments and those emotions, he gets more reactions now from just doing something and standing there and looking at the crowd than he ever would doing as opposed to doing a 6:30 or something outside. For those sticking to high flying though, Wheeler had this to say, quote, "I love watching Vikingo and Commander, for instance, last night at Supercard of Honor," Wheeler said, "but man, those guys are going to do those things. They're going to a different class than everybody else, and if you can't do those things at that level, you better find something else, because if the fans don't take to you and you're doing things second rate," and kind of shrug. So certainly interesting comments. Do you agree with what Cash Wheeler is saying there about Will Ospreay? Has he figured it out? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But there you go, guys. This is the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. Remember, you can join the WN365 roster page by clicking that join button. We will be live tomorrow evening for a Backlash watch along and a Backlash post show. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. Click the notification bell. You'll be notified every time a new video goes up or I go live. I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.